Hello everyone and welcome to Game 3 in a matchup between Huck versus Moon. Huck from Team Liquid, Moon also a Warcraft 3 veteran or a Warcraft 3 deity depending if you follow Warcraft 3 or not. We have Moon spawning as the blue Moon or blue Zerg here on the bottom left hand side of Crossfire. Meanwhile Liquid Huck spawning on the top right hand side as the red Protoss. Protoss versus Zerg on Crossfire. Now Crossfire, one of those maps where I believe it is an official BattleNet map, but there is not, it's not part of the map pool. There are two center Xel'Naga watchtowers here and here that do give a very large or very wide range of vision, and there's also multiple attack paths for the ground army to get there. And I would say that this is perhaps more of a Protoss favored map because of these untraversable terrains where stalkers can blink across easily, and also the sheer number of choke points and ramps where one force field can completely shut down and stop a Zerg player in its tracks. There are, however, these backdoor rocks that you have to be aware of, as stalkers are able to put pressure on the front door and then blink, try to put pressure on the back door, or simply walk around and put pressure on the back door. A Zerg player trying to defend multiple locations, even if they are connected by creep, is rather difficult. Based upon what I've seen so far from Moon's going to go into that spawning pool extractor build that he enjoys so much. There he goes, the spawning pool extractor. This will allow him to have about 60 gas as his spawning pool completes. He'll be able to just finish mining off and get that last bit of gas there. Meanwhile, Huck is getting that gateway. We are getting an assimilator. There's that second pylon. A very standard build by Huck, as well as the Overlords now trying to get in position. Drones quickly making their way inside the extractor. The extractor now nearly completed, about, what, 75% done so far? Yeah, 75% done, as this one particular probe just continuing to just try to delay the mining on all of those drones, and every second counts. So there's so many things that you need to try to do in order to just get ahead of your opponent. As you can now see Huck going to try to sit down here. He knows pretty much by the timing that 4 Zerglings will be coming out. He cannot drop a proxy pylon. That would just be wasted minerals at this stage. As a Zealot now going to try to hold off against the Swarm right here by rallying in between the cliff and the Cybernetics core, making sure that he cannot get flanked. Overlord back over here, just quickly sitting or flying across the map, will be able to start revealing a little bit of Huck space. Now, Game 3 is a very critical matchup in this series so far, regardless if it's a best of 5 or a best of 7. I know it's not a best of 3. So Game 3, very, very critical, as it gives you such a large advantage. And one game down 2-1. Games 3 and Game 4 are really where everything is on the line. And I just hope to continue to cast, and hopefully I will enjoy the rest of these games with you. So Moon back over here, currently mining away, morphing away with this one particular drone. Growing up to be a hatchery. It will be able to start spawning larvae as Moon now looking to perhaps repeat. Oh no, he is actually getting gas a little bit more quickly now, so we may see a faster tech to tier 2. Perhaps we could see roaches. Yeah, roaches already coming out, so we may have a little bit of earlier pressure with roaches. Roaches do work out well against Protoss in the early portion of the game until there are a lot of sentries, and Huck is going to have a little bit of a difficult time trying to establish this third base or second base. That second base, you can see that the Nexus has not been warped in yet. You can see a lot of sentries being trained, so we're gonna get somewhere into the realm of 5 to 6 sentries, and by training up those sentries, he frees up enough room for minerals. We'll be warping in a Nexus. There you go, warping in that Nexus now, only about 100 seconds behind. Taking a look at the drone count, 27 compared to 27, so very, very even between these two teams so far. 27 drones versus 27 probes. Economy-wise, we should pretty much have similar mining. Moon slightly ahead just because he's able to mine off of 16 mineral patches instead of 8. Also, he is only going for 1 gas instead of 2, as we are now going into an evolution chamber. So the missile upgrade should be coming underway, as well as an Overlord was shot down. And with that Overlord shot down, we can see that Moon momentarily supply blocked, and unable to train up any additional drones. You can see a lot of drones now waiting to be hatched here. Needs to get up some additional overlords as well, as we are going into the claw attack upgrades. So a little confused by that. Zergling's obviously benefiting from the claw attack upgrades, but he's also training up 5 roaches. So I had imagined originally that the roaches were going to get the attack upgrades, as roaches do have a decent range and are able to fire past force fields with relatively easily, as the force field's diameter, I believe, is 2.9. So the range with the range of Roach is equal to 3. He's able to shoot on a Zealot on the far side, but sentries will be able to shoot them while being out of range. So Moon has to be very careful with this early engaging attack force. His attack force is slightly smaller, about 675 resources smaller, in fact, as Huck currently just using a mass sentries to perform some basic defense. We are getting a forge now down here on the low ground. It is going to be 2-gate play, or a 3-gate play with a forge, as the Zerglings and Roaches continue to just find their proper position. A Zealot now looking to attack these backdoor rocks, perhaps deplete them slowly but surely, and it may be able to get some damage on them. No, he decides not to, as the Overlord is in the air and spots them. The Roaches back over here, doesn't look like they're going to be able to try to take down those backdoor rocks. There are a lot of sentries here. The sentries going to be able to pick off those Zerglings rather easily. There you go. But wasting a bit of energy, as the Zerglings now trying to do a bit of a surround here. And it looks like those sentries are in a very tight pocket. We can see a lot of force fields just being placed down, so those sentries are now getting low on energy as the Roaches are continuing to push. Zealots versus Roaches, both sides battling out, more force fields coming in. Not that much energy left on those sentries, as the Stalkers getting stuck onto the far side of a force field as well, and the pylon may get taken down as more units now coming in. Probes coming off the mineral line. We see a chain of more units coming in as a reinforcement. A probe surround onto that one particular Roach, as the probes are continuing to just add DPS, but it is hurting Huck's overall economy. So 7 workers have been destroyed. Taking a look at the overall losses are higher for Huck as those force fields also delayed Huck from really being able to fight back as well. The Stalkers are trying to fight off in a very, very well cordoned off area so they can pick across those Zerglings. Another round of force fields as the Roaches are now battling it out against those probes, and more workers still getting destroyed. Harvester count 34 to compare to 32. The Roaches trying to get as much damage as possible. The probes once again going after those Roaches, and the Roaches finally taken down, and perhaps Moon will transition into something else. He still has some Zerglings, and those Zerglings are now just going to gather over here on the top portion and now perhaps try to do a run by. It doesn't. Oh, it looks like it's being able to finish off 1 sentry, perhaps 2 or 3 sentries as well. And once those sentries go down, those are the expensive units at 150 resources compared to, I guess, the Stalkers 175. But the Zerglings now inside the base, and this is going to be a problem as those probes are now taking some damage back and forth. Stalkers once again trying to reinforce as Zerglings going after a Zealot. 3 Zerglings, 1 Zealot, a lot of probes, and in comes a new photon cannon. Zerglings just constantly putting pressure on the inside. Huck not really able to just get rid of all of these Zerglings just quite yet, as the Zerglings are just still running rampant through the base. Perhaps they'll be able to pick off some of those probes as well, as Huck now losing a couple more Stalkers and a couple more units. The Zerglings just laying down the pressure, and Moon has to be enjoying the fact that he has a pretty nice lead at this stage. You can see Moon running off of 34 drones, 32 harvesters. Taking a look at the army combination, he is a bit behind, but he is getting a macro hatch on the inside of his base. It looks like we are still at tier 1, so no tech to tier 2 just quite yet, but a macro hatch would do wonders. The additional larva for a lot more Zerglings, as those Zerglings are upgraded 1-0, like I mentioned earlier, deciding to go for the claw upgrades before the missile upgrades. Huck needs to power drone his way and get back into this game in order to establish that strong economy. The problem will be that Moon will be able to power drone off of 3 hatcheries, each hatchery with a queen ready to go, and we'll see how this is all going to work out. Is Moon going to perhaps just continue to macro up? Or is he going to try to build up a large army and just try to put the final nail in the coffin, as Huck is only running off of 2 bases right now. He doesn't have that many harvesters, currently down 6 harvesters, as the hatchery of Moon about, now 50% done. Zerglings still running across the map on the far side. It looks like they will be able to put some pressure towards these destructible rocks, and if he's able to take those down, that's going to be another choke point that Huck needs to guard with sentries. Trying to keep track of multiple choke points is rather difficult, as soon as you keep track of one choke point, you lose track of another. As the Zerglings now poking apart, you can see Huck does see a little bit of blue there, so those Zerglings are revealed as the Stalkers are now coming back over and will be getting some damage onto those Zerglings taking a bit of damage and now finally backing off as the main attack force of Zealots and Sentries are making a move once more. You can see 2 additional gateways, more drones. Wow, that was a lot of drones to be had. 60 drones being power trained, as Moon now getting another hatch over here at the 4 or 5 o'clock location. All of these drones are going to be able to add a lot of economy into Moon once they begin to mine, and Moon once again has to be just very happy with himself as he knows that he has pretty much dominant control of the game at this stage. You can see the Zerglings now backing off over here, perhaps trying to make sure that there are no units attempting to attack this expansion, as both players are now, as Moon now running off of 3 bases compared to Huck's 2. We are getting a Zergling over here. We do have a hallucinated Phoenix here. So hallucinated Phoenix revealing Moon's prox or 3rd base now. And where will Huck go? Huck could try to go for the 3rd base, or he could try to put pressure on the main bases as well. He is spread a little bit thin, but he does also have this 4 o'clock expansion on the right side of the map. Sentries quickly clearing up all of those creep tumors as the sentries now continue to make their way through, and the Zerglings looking to perhaps get a bit more damage there. Now simply running in, trying to take down those cannons. Those cannons, however, able to finish off some of those Zerglings. The Zerglings are upgraded 1-0, and we are now going into the Carapace upgrades. The 1 Immortal will be able to just pop and take those down. Army of Stalkers and Sentries still in midfield. You can see that Huck does have a superior army at this time, but Moon has the superior food count as he's sitting on 68 drones. So 68 drones compared to 53, as we are now adding Hydralisks to the army. Hydralisks do deal a fair amount of damage. They are going to be level 1 weapons upgraded, so I believe 13 damage a shot. And they also attack relatively quickly, faster than a Marine, and also will have +1 range with the help of those Groove Spines. Sentries, Stalkers, Zealots now trying to figure out where exactly they can go, as the Roaches, Marauders once again scampered down and around, trying to look for the rest of that army, perhaps trying to get in for a decent flank. This expansion by Huck finally being placed at the 17, or will be completed around the 19-minute mark. Around the 19-10-second mark there, as Zealots, Sentries, and Immortals still holding off in the center position, waiting for the rest of the army to gather. So you can see Huck still has a very large army, and he's playing very well. He has a very strong economy going, and now Roaches and Hydra's going to try to battle it out. Moon going to be caught out of position in this battle, as the Zerglings now trying to make their way in. So massive force fields now coming in once more. Force fields coming in. Roaches unable to really deal that much damage, as the Hydralisks are just unable to really use that range of 6 effectively, and all the Stalkers are in the center of this pocket, getting so much protection and being able to fight back very slowly time after time. You can see that the Immortal taking a lot of damage, but that was just an hallucination, and Moon with a very impressive army able to finish off Huck at this point. And now Huck in a little bit of a desperate situation. Your opponent's food count almost twice as high, as those Hydras finally join in on the fight, coming in to try to get as much damage as possible. A new round of force fields quickly coming in, and now you can see 3,100 resources versus 825 minerals and resources, and things are not looking good for Huck, as level 2 weapons upgrade, level 2 claw upgrades, and level 1 missile upgrades coming in from those Mutalisks. The Roaches and Hydras are trying to figure out where exactly they can fight, but with those force fields down, there's not much they can really do, and there's the GG by Huck. So Moon taking the critical game 3 in this best, I don't know what is the best of, but in this series. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.